Hello, everyone, and welcome to Goal Line Gossip. Today was the last day of the Premier League this season, and what a day! We finally got to know which are the clubs that won't be making through to the next season, and also from a top four point of view. Although we knew it in the previous week who are going to qualify for Champions League, but now the answers are here with us. So, Southampton was already relegated. Southampton have been joined with Leicester and Leeds. We got to know about that today. Everton somehow survives. Sean Dyche doing what he does. He was hired to save relegation for Everton, and they did that, which means they will go on to play the Premier League next season as well. But then, the fairy tale of Leicester comes to an end. We have to realize this is a team that won the Premier League a few years back, and now it's an end of an era. They're going back to the Championship, and who knows when they'll be back. And same for Leeds as well. Leeds, when they came to the Premier League, I think they were an exciting team under Bielsa. Uh, didn't matter if you were a fan of Leeds or not. They played very fast, exciting football, and it'll be sad to see that not happening. Obviously, I mean, it did change as managers came and went, but so that's it from the relegation. Uh, Obviously, from the promoted clubs, we had Burnley, who had qualified a few weeks ago. Luton joined, and we have Sheffield United. It's also a comeback for them in the Premier League, so it's going to be exciting next season. We are all pumped up, and of course, like from a Champions League point of view, Newcastle and Manchester United make sure that they will get a spot in the Champions League rounds, which is a big thing for both of the clubs. Maybe a little bit more for Newcastle. I'm not really sure if they've done it before, but yeah, I mean, what an
Yes, we did.
anyhow.
Yes, we did.
When was that?
Believe it was on 99 or 2000 season.
Oh, okay, so not really that long ago, but it's
Yeah.
good
Not
to
that
know
long
that.
ago.
Yeah, I mean, like I was there. Probably not watching football that much, but I was there. So yeah, great news for the Manchester and the club from Newcastle. But which means again, like Liverpool fail to finish top four, they'll be playing Europa. Yes, that's definitely deserves a cheer. And yeah, so let's talk to the folks here. So we have the Bong Scouser, we have SMG, who was Poch last week or the week before that, and we have iTunes Mag, who's very happy with Newcastle's result. We'll start with the Bong Scouser. Walk us through the Southampton match. It kind of ended in 4-4. What happened? I was looking at the Manchester United match with against Fulham, but how, like, 8 goals? That's like a lot of goals. What happened there?
So yeah, that was an consequential game. So that did not have any kind of consequence to how the Premier League table would look like in the final day of the season. Uh, the game turned out that way. There was the team did not no team there wanted to defend. Okay, it was all about scoring goals, and from the off, we started very well. It was great to see Firmino score a goal again. Also, Milner started the game. All the important players in the Liverpool 11, Alisson, Van Dijk, Robertson, Fabinho, Henderson, all these guys were rested. I think Salah was probably chasing the 20th goal. That's why he played the game. But apart from that, it was never a game that really showed the standards of the Premier League, to be very honest with you. I mean, there was no defending whatsoever. Apart from the last 10 minutes where I felt Southampton try to defend in numbers and try to stop Liverpool getting that winning goal. But all in all, that was not a really great game, even though the scoreline looks like a very entertaining one. I was actually watching the match to see Romeo Lavia play, okay, because he's been linked with us, and he's a player that I have followed this season, and I kind of like him I mean, I have said in our WhatsApp group previously that I don't like the players who are linked with us this season somehow, and he's a player that sort of has my confidence because he is a young player and he's got all the tools that you need from for a number six, and he's at a very good age as well. He's, I think, 19 years. Yes, so I was watching the game for him, and but he did not have a part to play, so it was pretty dull for me. But again, the best part of the match was seeing Bobby Firmino get his final goal for the season, and that's it. What more can I say? It was just a day to remember for him, and uh, I, as a fan, you know, completely applaud his contribution for our club. I mean, Liverpool under in Klopp's era is synonymous with his name. Okay, so uh, I think it's sad to say goodbye to a legend, but it's time to move ahead. And next season, I hope we build on the progress we've made towards the later half of the season, and hopefully we'll be back next year. Yeah.
But yeah, all in all, like how would you sum up your season? Like going back to when you had the first game and to the last day. What are some of the takeaways that you think that Klopp should kind of work on and improve the team for next season?
I think all in all, it was a disappointing season. I mean, the Liverpool team that we've seen over the last 5 to 6 years under Jurgen Klopp uh, has been a totally different team in terms of the intensity they have played with, and you know the general mentality of the team has been completely different to what we have seen this season. Some of the old pros like Van Dijk, you know. Trent Alexander-Arnold in the earlier half of the season, they've really let us down with their performances because they looked kind of nagged and they were really not up for it. So that has eventually led us to finishing this low, and also it's also down to Klopp's tactics, I would say, because there was a certain part of the season where it was pretty evident that Trent was not doing well in that right back position, and but we needed to change the system, but I think Klopp left it too late, when almost the season was gone. Okay, so he left it too late, and I think, but again, that only goes to show that he is a human after all. With all the decisions that he has made over the past few years, I mean, there is no complaint whatsoever. But again, I felt that we were let down. Also, you factor in the World Cup and the injuries. Uh, I think it's fair to say that uh, that played a part as well. But all in all, you'll have to say it's a disappointing season. I never expected Liverpool to drop this low for a team that has been consistently, finishing with more than 90 points over the last 4 or 5 years. I think we are averaging. I was seeing the stat, and over the last 5 years, we've averaged something like 86 points over the last 5 seasons. That's incredible. I mean, and to drop to 67 points over the season, I mean, there can be no excuses really. I mean, that is well below our standards, and the only positives I would say this season is that what I see is that our front three is combining well. Okay, Luis Diaz is back, Diogo Jota is scoring goals. I can see next season Liverpool scoring a lot of goals. Also, Trent Alexander-Arnold has sort of blossomed in this midfield role that he's playing. He's been absolutely brilliant. Uh, so these are the takeaways from the season, and there are two more midfielders who've done very well this season, the likes of Bajcetic and Curtis Jones, who really gone to the next level this season. So there are a few positives, but I think the biggest positive will be our performance itself, because that has somewhat led to the disappointment of the players, and probably there was some sort of a complacency within the players, thinking that okay, we will pull it off at the end, we will finish top four, but it was not to be. The fact that we missed out on top four, I think, will eventually spur players on to to perform better next season.
Uh, okay, so moving on to our relegation update. So Everton survive. What are your thoughts about that? I'll go to Aiton Mac. So just like Newcastle, I think growing up, I've always thought of Everton to be a very big club. I mean, maybe not the biggest English club, but then one of those clubs that always has a part to play in the Premier League. I mean, it doesn't belong to Championship, and clearly, with what's been happening to the club for the last couple of years, it has deteriorated to a point where they were almost getting relegated. But of course, like somehow they survived. That should be Sean Dyche's book name. He did his job, didn't he? And yeah, we're just gonna see Everton again. Which what are your thoughts about that, Aiton Mac?
I think I mean Everton is degrading as you say season by season, and it should be this season should be a awakening call for their management. I think they need to overhaul their squad, entire squad, because I don't think they have that level of players who can perform well, give a club a top eight finish. Right now, they don't have that one, and I don't see a good manager, I mean, an elite manager coming to Everton just right away. So they have to grind for a couple of seasons more. They have to squad overall. They have to think about their management. I mean, Daesh has done his part, but I believe it's time for a new management. I mean, a new managerial candidate should be there in Everton, at least who can, make it, more competing kind of scenario for Everton.
But I think
Uh,
they're an ambitionless club. I have to say
I
it.
believe, I mean, it's been
I mean,
happening
you
for
are
last
just
three, four
imagine,
seasons.
yeah, that's true. And ever since this owner came in, I don't know what's his name, Rahman Mosheri,
Yeah,
that's his name, right?
yeah.
So ever since this guy came in, Everton's lost their ambition totally. I don't know. They sold off Lukaku, and now in a season where they were looking clearly favorites for the relegation drop, and at that point of the season, in the mid-season, they sold their best player to
Anthony
Newcastle.
Gordon. Anthony
Yeah,
Gordon.
I mean, who does that? I mean, it's
I mean,
it's totally crap. I mean, they
they,
are an
they just
ambitious
wanted to.
club, and I really feel bad for Leicester, because Leicester, at least from what we've seen in the previous years, they had some ambition. I mean, they invested in their squad, they got a good manager, but Everton was just happy, surviving in the Premier League. That was always there. You can see
I,
from the managerial appointment, they got Sean Dyche. When you get Sean Dyche, it means obviously that. And look at the players that they brought, the McNeil, and then what's that guy's name?
Tarkowski.
Yeah, Tarkovsky. These guys are serial relegation players. Okay, I mean, they've been playing relegation since they came into the Premier League. So it just shows the ambition of the club, and I think it would have been better if they went down, because they are, simply it's a place lost, you can say, in the Premier League table. They have no role to play, seriously.
Let's talk to SMG, who's our Chelsea fan. So a wrap for you as well this season. Uh, did Lampard win any? I think he won one game in his tenure at Chelsea. But yeah, what is your overall review of the season? You've had four managers. So many things that has happened. So many players have come in, and it's just so much drama. Like, what is your takeaway from the season, and like, what are you hoping to look forward to for the next one?
I think, I mean, two words which come to my mind about Chelsea season is like disaster and shambolic. So nothing less than that. So I think we started off well, little bit under Tuchel. Then we lost our way, losing to Dynamo in the Champions League. I think there, then Potter came in, and then Lampard. So it's I thought like with new owners coming in, the pattern of firing and winning trophies will continue, but this time around only the first part continued, which is firing managers. But yeah, the winning was the thing which was missing. And I think new owners came in and they just thought, it's more like American basketball team. You're like hire LeBron James and you win maximum points. So he actually thought he would buy top players, whoever is available in the market, and just get the team there. Enzo Fernandez been one, like he won the World Cup, so he thought like he would come in Chelsea and win trophies or something like that. So I think so that perspective was completely wrong when it came to soccer. So that's why I think with Pochettino coming in, and I think money was never an issue for Pochettino. I think that with what I heard from Fabrizio speaking, it's like the discussion was more around the type of players he wants or he wants to have control, because I think the negotiation took quite a long time to settle with Pochettino. So I think, with players moving out, few players just coming in, maybe we might be in a good spot. I won't say that it would be competing for Premier League title, but I think a top four is what we are looking for. And positives from the season, I would say, is we have players, as if it's not a it's a worse squad. It is a
Who are
good.
some of the players that you would want to retain for next season, and maybe can be the main players for your team?
I think I would start off with Chilwell on the left back, and then Thiago Silva, and either Fofana or Chalabua making that the second defender spot, and Reece James, obviously
Fofana,
it's a
I thought
perfect.
Fofana was a striker, isn't it?
Wesley Fofana.
There are two Fofanas in Chelsea.
Yeah. There is
Yeah,
one Fofana is a central back.
Okay,
who came
Wesley
from
Fofana.
Leicester. Who came
Leicester.
from
Yeah.
Leicester at
Of
78.
course,
Yeah,
Wesley Fofana. Yeah.
correct. I think in the midfield, if we get Enzo, Kante, and I'm not sure because who is gonna stay, because Loftus Cheek probably gonna move, or Gallagher probably gonna move. So maybe one player coming in, I'm not sure. And in the front three, definitely the place where Chelsea needs the most improvement. I think with Nkunku coming in, I think that would be a great thing. And I have seen signs of Madueke. I think if he comes
Yeah,
around 75 minutes, I think he would be a great impact when the
yeah,
defenders are too tired and he's got all
yeah.
the skills. And probably Mudrik needs polishness and all, so that's all. But I would definitely love to see this kind of squad and maybe a striker coming in with Pochettino coming in. So that's the only place probably I need. Like we need a Diego Costa coming in who can just score goals. That's it. Otherwise, I think Chelsea have got everything, because if you see the match against United, there were n number of chances which got created in the first half with Lewis Hall coming in. So chances is not the problem. The problem is somebody finishing it in, and that's what we have been missing for. Not sure if Lukaku gonna stay and whether Pochettino has any plans with Lukaku. That's a separate thing. But yeah, maybe I think with under Tuchel, Lukaku didn't fit in that style where Tuchel was playing three at the back. Maybe things might change, because I saw Lukaku playing good in Inter Milan once again. So all depends on just waiting how the
Only not
pre-season
Lukaku.
starts off.
But
So,
what? But I just wanted to understand one thing, SMG. What do you think went? I mean, everything went wrong, surely. But if you have to highlight that one thing that really went wrong for Chelsea this season, why are Chelsea finishing 12th this season? Why do you think? What do you think is the reason behind your failure this season?
I think if I were to be the manager, then I would have definitely not sacked Tuchel immediately. I would have kept him. So I think bringing in Potter, who have never managed a Champions League club before, that was a very wrong decision. So I would have kept Tuchel, and Chelsea has always gone for high-profile managers. Nevertheless, so I don't know why they did that thing about bringing somebody from just because his style of play suits doesn't mean that he will be very successful in a club like Chelsea. So yeah, I think that was the missing, that was the wrong decision, which I feel. I think Tuchel could have been given a run about a more 5 or 6 games probably before immediately coming into conclusion.
Aitul Mac, please come in. You were about to say something.
I was asking whether Nkunku is a done deal or is it under negotiation part?
No, it's done.
It's done.
I
It's
it's
done.
done. It's done. It was done
Yeah.
back in December. Yeah, I think he
Okay.
he never thought like Chelsea would finish 12th, I think his ambition was to play Champions League, definitely coming from
Yeah,
RPL itself. But
that's exactly the point why I'm asking. So
yeah,
if
because
it's
and
not a done deal, then
no, I think it's a done deal way back.
okay.
So yeah,
Aitun Mac
I
was
think
just
I
thinking if
think
it's not a done
even this
deal,
season
then
is full
Newcastle
fixing
could
mode.
get him.
No, we are
Sorry,
thinking
go ahead.
about Salah. So yeah, I mean,
You serious about Salah?
no, I was just kidding. I know that Salah is not gonna come. So we
I
have
think
other names in our hand.
Neymar might be a pick
Neymar,
for
Neymar is a
Newcastle.
good
Yeah,
start.
Neymar is
No,
a good
not
start.
Neymar, but Newcastle is seriously considering Rafinha from Barcelona. It's a 75 million plan is going on. So let's see
But
what happens.
think Neymar coming to your St James Park and scoring that wonderful goal and look at the fan following which Neymar has. I think Premier League would just go 2x just because Neymar coming in because he is a
I think
brand.
the only guy
He's a
I think the only guy who would buy Neymar at this moment is Todd Bowley. I
might
mean,
be because
No,
I feel players like those
apart from Todd
not
Bowley, no
just
one
not.
else is going to buy Neymar.
So if he come in, if he comes in, I don't mind because with Neymar coming in, it's not just Neymar because he brings a brand to with himself.
But
So
Whoa, why do you care about the brand again?
because Chelsea
I
already is a brand. I don't see. I mean, a
I mean
player
he helps
bringing
the
that much.
club with revenue perspective for sure. So I think whichever club Neymar goes in, it will help in revenue some way or the other. He is not
I
just
think
like any
I
other
think
player.
I think what SMG is saying is that next season when Chelsea are relegated to the championship, they'll need Neymar's money to to
Chelsea would
to get
never
some
get
funds.
relegated till we reach at the age of 60 for sure. Chelsea would never get relegated because we have a owner who has a lot of money to invest. So I know if with money you definitely can't win trophies, but with money you can stay in Premier League for sure.
Oh my God!
Great. Okay, so let's move on from that conversation to top four. So Newcastle and Manchester United are going to play Champions League next season. That's been missing from the Champions League. I think we were there the season before, but Newcastle. I mean, come on, like it's 99 2000. That was the last time you were there, right? That's what you
Yes,
said. Now you're back in Champions League. How do you feel as a Newcastle fan? Being a supporter through
splendid,
thick and thin, and yeah, I
splendid.
mean, go on.
Yeah, I was always skeptical that we would qualify for Champions League with this, this team, with this bench, because to be honest, we don't have that much squad depth to compete for Champions League. But the team, I mean, it's a season to remember for the fans, for the players, for the management, for everyone. I mean, from a relegation contender previous season, from qualify for Champions League, it's something
Incredible.
undescribable. I mean, I've been there because I mean, previously I was informed that I'm in a place where I have listened to BBC radio streaming for Newcastle games done. I mean, even in the India, we had 10 sports, seeing the championship highlights when we got relegated. From there to, I mean, a Champions League, that team will be playing on St. James's Park. It's next season. It's
Tuesday
gonna be
and
a, you
Wednesday
know,
nights are going to be special.
yes, it will be special. But with this amount of, this enjoyment, whatever, or the joy, whatever we can say, it comes a great responsibility for management to strengthen the team right now, to build a team which can compete and not for one season, for rest of, for maybe 15, 20, or 30 years. It should be a team which can compete, which can win the trophies. Because from our current squad, I was just thinking about our players, performance. I believe there are 10, 11 players who are, okay with Champions League level. But rest of the team, they are still little bit under the Champions League level. So we have to bring new talents, new names to build a team. I know, I mean, we cannot go for right away all the big names. They are certainly not going to come, and it won't help Newcastle that way. So yeah, I mean, it's a very pivotal season. Players, remarkable performances, and from the management, they have signed players. I mean, they have spent money very efficiently. I haven't seen
Exactly.
a club spending money this much efficiently right after
Exactly.
taking the ownership. It's phenomenal.
Exactly.
I don't know how to say this. I mean, our pivotal moment comes a 3-3 draw with Man City, 6-1 thumping to Tottenham Hotspurs, winning against Man U 2-0, even winning in St. James Park, and Chelsea 1-0. So these are the moments I would never forget in my life as long as I live. And this is something a really enjoyable moment. We could have there are a lot of space or a lot of scope to improve for our team, certainly, because there are we played entire season without a defensive midfielder, without a proper left back. So these are the key areas I believe Howie and the owner will try to bring new talents, and it's an
So
exciting season
is
next
there a
season.
statue that is already being built outside St James's Park of Eddie Howe?
I think it should. I think it should. There is a bar named Shearer. I think similar bar should. I mean, there should be another bar naming Eddie Howe. I mean, that man has done something remarkable job since he came.
I think
I have a
after
question for Aitun Mang. So with new players coming in, and this score is what took this team to top three. So do you think new players coming in would hamper that balance? And they have to play a lot of games as well. So how do you think that gel will happen?
See, to perform in Champions League equally in the league as well, we need to strengthen our bench. With the current bench strength, we cannot perform. I mean, we will be like West Ham, uh, probably. I mean, since they are in Conference League, they have reached the final, but in Champions League, we wouldn't reach in the second level. We probably finished in the Group League fourth and
Newcastle are in
in
which
the
spot, by the way? They're in pot three.
pot fourth. Manu finished third.
So
So.
Newcastle are in pot four. My gosh. So it's going to be
So
incredibly difficult to reach the
yeah, it
next stage.
will be difficult. Yeah. Of course, we believe that. We always in the. I mean, we accept that. But
By the way, is Newcastle are playing the playoffs or is it direct?
no, it is
So
direct.
you're okay. Okay.
So yeah, I mean, we need to bring new talents. There are a few players certainly leaving, like Ryan Fraser will be leaving. Will Dubravka? He wants a first team play with the way Pope is playing with his performance. I don't see Dubravka playing for us in unless like this last match against Chelsea. Like Pope was injured with a hand injury, so I don't see Dubravka playing instead of Pope. So he probably will be leaving. So there are a few players. Matt Ritchie probably will leave. Jacob Murphy. I'm not sure about Jacob Murphy, but uh,
Jacob Murphy
Isaac
played
Hayden.
brilliantly this season, didn't he?
Yeah, he
Scored
did,
a
but
lot
I'm
of
not
important
sure
goals.
what's the plan with Jacob Murphy. So two players currently in loan will come back, and how he already informed that they will not feature. One is Isaac Hayden, another is Jeff Hendrick. They will not be continuing in Newcastle United. Clayton Clark, I think he will also leave. So there are lots of position will be vacant. So there will be new players certainly coming, and with Champions League, I think it will be much easier for Dan Ashworth to lure few good names, few talents, good talents. So yeah, it will be a very exciting window for us.
Just to understand,
Well,
what will be your transfer budget this season?
I
What's your
heard
prediction?
it's 300,
There is no
300.
budget.
No. It's around 300 million pounds. So
That's
That
quite a
can't be
lot.
true. That cannot be true because you're already
300,
getting a lot of
300
money
million
for.
plus the amounts that is generated out of the sale of players.
sale of the players, yes. But I don't see, I mean, our players who are living, they don't generate much revenue, maybe 2 million, 5 million few players, but not much.
Yeah, I mean the
Only if
ones that you
we,
mentioned. Yeah, that makes sense.
only if we sell Alan Saint Maximin, which is, I don't know, it's a 50-50 situation with Alan Saint Maximin. it could be generate 40 or 50 million something.
Who's going to
So
buy
yeah,
him? He's like very injury prone.
yeah, that's one challenge, but the price tag is
Chelsea would.
around
That's what.
40, 45.
Any guy on the
Never,
transfer list, Chelsea
I
is
thought
there.
Chelsea
never.
was buying
That
Neymar.
No, no,
that
no.
will
Doesn't
change.
matter.
That
Any
will
guy on the
change.
transfer list, Chelsea is there to buy.
We will have Pochettino
They
coming
have a
in, so
lot of
that will
money.
change.
One other team that made it to the Champions League was Manchester United. I think Eric Ten Hag is a bit underrated, at least for now. Which I'm not complaining. I'm actually happy about that because you see all of these new managers coming into the realm. You have De Zerbi's, you have Howie or Eddie Howe, you have Marco Silva, and there are so many, right? The Bournemouth manager as well, right? He made sure that they were
Yeah.
fighting relegation at some point, and now they're safe and happy. So I think this has been a season where there's been a lot of firing and hiring, and some of the managers have failed to perform, whereas the others have. And although there are always going to be managers like Arteta and Pep who are going to be the top managers of the season, but then there are other managers who were, some of them were fighting top four, some of them were fighting mid-table, some of them were fighting relegation and things like that. So I think from a top four point of view, Eric Ten Hag did a spectacular job in making sure that we get that spot. And we have to also remember we got third spot, we're not fourth spot. So not that there's a lot of difference there. But at the same time, I think the way we started our season, losing to Brentford, losing to Brighton, going back those days, and then trying to, understand how he's managed to done this is, I mean, I think uh, he requires a round of applause for his contribution. And we also have to understand this is a season where Ronaldo had that problem with United. I mean, it's been such a long season. The Ronaldo saga, I mean, I've almost forgotten about it, but it's kind of feels weird thinking that it was this season. And also, Maguire pushing Maguire to the bench. He'd probably leave or not leave, but whatever. He's not going to get game time anyways. He's not the main centre back for Manchester United. So these important decisions, he's been able to take those. Also, getting someone like Alejandro Garnacho, who's a academy boy, back in the first team. I think that's
Amazing
a
player.
good achievement as well. And Sancho has been playing well. I mean, fingers crossed. Who knows what's going to happen later? But he's been getting game time. Today he played 90 minutes. Last game he also played 90 minutes. Decent performance. Got two goals. One today and one in the one before I think Bournemouth. But yeah, all in all, I think he did a fantastic job. Not really sure if we are ready for Champions League, if I'm being honest as a fan. But at the same time, the goal would be to you know not get knocked out of the group. I think that's very important. We did that a couple of years back with Leipzig and PSG in our group. So hopefully we'll get a decent group. And once we do that, first objective would be to get out of the group stage, go into the knockouts, and that will also require some strength in the squad. Someone like Mason Mount, I think, although I'm not really sure where he would play. It was a bit of a surprise when we got to see the news, at least when I got to see the news that Eric Ten Hag really wants Mason Mount. But I guess it's something to do
I
with
think he'll
squad
play
depth.
alongside Casemiro in the double pivot.
No, no, I think he would
Eh,
play with Bruno in between two, or like he would get the way to push forward along with Bruno.
I don't think, like, it depends. Like we still haven't finalized our number nine, right? And who knows who's going to be, whether it's going to be a Kane or it's going to be someone like a Ferguson or maybe someone else, right? And these are all very different kinds of forwards. So when you have a Kane, that position is like cemented for the rest of the season. Nobody else is going to get it because Kane is the best in the world. But when it comes to someone like a Ferguson, then you need to swap in players. You can play different styles, maybe a false nine, with Bruno up front. So there are a lot of ways of doing it. I'm not entirely sure why Ten Hag wants Mount, but he's a great player. I'm not. I'm a little like hesitant about his attitude, how he behaved with, the Chelsea Football Club. So I just hope that doesn't get dragged on to Manchester United because we've had a lot of leaks. We've had a lot of like tips in the locker room, like in the past 2 seasons, with a
I
lot of.
think I think if Mason Mount is playing alongside Casemiro, that's recipe for disaster at Manchester United. Simply because
Yeah,
I
he's
think
not that
I
kind of
think
a player.
yeah, he
Hmm.
is he cannot be your primary source of creativity. He
Yeah.
doesn't create that much, but I
Hmm.
think it's his contribution on the defensive side of the game that really stands out. He's a lovely presser. Okay, I mean he presses a lot.
Right.
That's the best side that I have seen of Mason Mount. The other thing is that I think he has this uncanny ability to arrive in the box and score important goals. He scored a
Hmm.
lot of important goals for Chelsea previously.
Yeah.
Uh, but having said that, I think you have a similar kind of player, a better player in Bruno. And I don't see if at all they buy Mason Mount, I don't think he's a natural fit in that 11. If you ask me, I think
I
Ericsson.
mean it. Yeah, I think he's an upgrade for Ericsson, because you mentioned the press, right? I don't think Ericsson can press, and he
Yeah.
cannot hold the ball as well. So I think from that point of view, Eric Ten Hag wants a high pressing team, and I think getting someone like Mountain will
No,
definitely
but
aid in
but
that.
the kind of role that Ericsson has played this season has been really good. If you see, Casemiro has got a lot of goals because of Ericsson, because Ericsson is dropping deep. Okay, he does not move up. He's dropping deep and he's absorbing the press. He's almost press resistant. He's absorbing the press and he's playing a key ball. And Casemiro has that when has that ability to understand when to go and attack in the box. So he is getting more of his chances because Ericsson is sort of absorbing the press, if I may say, and uh, and that is really helping Manchester United. I think if Manchester United need a midfielder, they have to get someone like Frankie De Jong or the likes, because that is the kind of player that they need. They need a player who's sort of a defensive playmaker, if I may say,
Right.
and that I think would really help Manchester United, and not
Hmm.
someone like Mason Mount.
Yeah, I think Eric Ten Hag is really good with. Also, I think as a manager or as a coach, he has the ability to mold players in different ways as well. We've seen Luke Shaw play centre back. We've seen Casemiro play centre back once. We've seen Dallo play left back. We've seen Rashford through the middle on the left. We've seen all the forwards like switching wings and things like that. So I think that's the sort of team that he wants to build, and maybe Mason Mount can mold into a different style of player or play in a different position. I don't know. You're absolutely right when you say that we need a defensive, sided like player who can carry the ball and also pass around. But yeah, Frankie De Jong is not in the market, and I'm not really sure who's second best. But as far as the
I
news
think
is
someone like
concerned,
a Romeo Lavia. I think someone like a Romeo Lavia could do very well because he's the kind of player that I've seen that has these sort of qualities that I'm talking about. I mean, although he's very raw at this point of time, but he has those tools that I'm talking about.
mhm,
Being the last person in that midfield, and to pass it long and pass it, know when to pass, and he's the kind of player I think that will improve Manchester United. Also from the point of view that he's just 19, 20 years old, I think that also he can fill in those. He does not immediately have to be in that playing 11 because Ericsson is already doing well.
yep,
uh, so I think that will do well for Manchester United. But I have one question for Saul. I think this
sure,
season, from what I have seen, Manchester United have done well, mostly because I think Eric Ten Hag is a fantastic man manager. I have to say, I think he's managed the squad pretty well, and I think a lot of the players that we are talking about this year, especially guys like Van Bissaka, so all the new guys also like Lisandro Martinez, uh, these guys have really done well and they played to their potential. I think that's one of the best things that you can, ask from a manager is to, enable players to play at their full potential, and that Erik Ten Hag has done well. But one of the things that I've seen missing with Manchester United this season is that he's not really imposed a philosophy on the team. I mean, I mean, I've seen other teams. If you talk about teams like Brighton, they have a certain playing style, and there is. If you see even Newcastle, okay, Newcastle have they have the manager has imposed a philosophy on the team. Okay, they play a certain way. Okay, and but that seems missing in Manchester United this year. I think we you cannot see Manchester United and instantly say that okay they are a pressing team, or neither can you say that they are a possession based team. So what? So how do you think this is going to pan out next season? Do you think this manager has a philosophy in place, or it will be more about again, you know, uh, trying to get the best out of his players and to play the way they are playing at the moment?
Yeah. So I think he has a philosophy. Whether he can, you know, instill that philosophy into the team, that's the big question. You also have to understand that, this is the team that Solskjaer, built, right? So he has inherited that team, except for the signings that he's made this season. Most of that team is from the Solskjaer era. So it will require some time for him to, you know, make those 11 players play in a certain way that he wants to on a pitch,
But what's his
which
philosophy, by the way? What's his philosophy?
he plays like high pressing football, pretty similar like Jurgen Klopp, but then he's uh, he's playing counter here is because just based on the type of players that we have. Rashford is pressing. He did press today, and I don't know if you guys caught the match, but he was pressing. But generally, he doesn't. Rashford is not a player who's going to press. Rashford is a player who's going to run. It's he works best with one-on-one situation. He works best with long balls, right? So when he's your main man, who's been scoring 17 goals in the Premier League in the Premier League season, he you have to play according to his strengths, and I think that also goes down to other players as well. Since we have Lisandro Martinez and Varane, Eric Ten Hag made sure that Harry Maguire doesn't play. Before this season, that option was not there, so Harry Maguire was there, which generally, it stopped us from playing a high line at the back. So these things are slowly changing. We've never seen us play such a high line in a season, like a full season before Ten Hag and Solskjaer. It was
But
just
can you
counter
play a
attack.
high line with David De Gea at the goal?
They did. They did. Yes, David De Gea made a lot of mistakes. Yes, we conceded a lot of goals, but he also got the highest clean sheet in the Premier League, which on the face value it might seem a little inconsistent. But what I mean by that is the philosophy that Eric Ten Hag has worked on this season. It might sound very simple, but the philosophy was to cut down the goals that we are conceding. From last season, we wanted to make sure that we don't concede enough goals. Yes, in some matches like against Man City at Etihad and Anfield and Liverpool, we scored 6 and 7, but he still managed to get the Golden Glove award, and that's based on the testament that we have a really good defensive team, and that has been something that has been established thanks to Lisandro Martinez and the partnership of Varane, or maybe Luke Shaw when either of them is not fit. Just Maguire doesn't play, and Lindelof has been doing a pretty decent job since Martinez is not there. So it's already coming there, but it'll take a little bit of time for Eric Ten Hag to get the right players, and also on all of these positions. Right now, Rashford, what do you do with Rashford? You cannot sell him anymore. He's scored 17 goals. But can you mold him into a player who can pass as well? He's a player who always keeps his head down and shoots from I don't know where, like from all the angles, right? Which doesn't work in his style. But he's also your main player. So there's certain things that he has to figure out. Also with Sancho, with Anthony, these are new young kids, and with Canacho as well. A lot to figure out. But I think next season we want to make sure that we have a good midfield. I was a little disappointed in Ericsson this season. Very excited in the beginning, free transfer, fantastic player. But then I think somewhere down the season his form deteriorated, and yeah, he's at an age where he doesn't have the legs, he cannot put in a tackle, And the only thing that he has is a passing range sometimes, not all the time. And I don't think he's a player that should be played in number 8. He's more going forward. I've always seen him in Ajax and Tottenham playing forward.
So he doesn't
So
have the leg to play forward. That is
yeah,
the
then it's a
problem.
makeshift, right? So I
Yeah.
think we should get a good replacement there. But let's see. The players that we have been closely linked to are 3 English players so far. Actually, like 3 English and one from Napoli. So it's Harry Kane, Declan Rice, and obviously Mason Mount. Kim Min Jae. Yeah, Kim Min Jae is. I think we are battling with Newcastle on that. There's a
Yeah,
40 million or 43 million release clause,
45,
which is
45. Yeah.
45. Okay, he knows better.
Whoever
So
gets that guy is going to be, that's an absolutely beast of a defender.
agreed, agreed.
Fantastic player.
Okay.
But I think you have to give Ten Hag some credit to what you said,
Wow.
because I
Of
think
course, of course,
his first
of
half
course.
went with Ronaldo saga. I think from where they lost to Brighton 6-0 or 4-0. I think I at least never thought that they would finish top four for sure. And till
And I
December, I
think he
think
handled adversity very well. I think when United were losing 3-0, 4-0 early on in the season, and he sort of stemmed that rot. Okay, I mean he was strong in his press conferences. He said that the team will improve, and he kept his head, and that actually transpired into results for the team, and eventually United have finished in the top four, and what a great season it has been for them.
Right. And yeah, that wraps up the show. Thank you so much for watching. We have one more game left, which is the FA Cup final against Man
Oh, yeah.
City next weekend. I don't know what you guys think, but I think we are going to win, obviously.
I hope
But
United to win, because I am just tired to see City beating everyone. So I hope
right.
United wins, because it's just a match, so it's not a league. So
Thank you so much for your time. And like our videos, subscribe, and we'll catch you later. Bye.